Chapter 5. Advi- Advice from a Caterpillar. The caterpillar and Alice looked at each other for some time in silence. At last, the caterpillar took the hookah out of its mouth and addressed her in loud, sleepy voice. "Who are you?" said the caterpillar. This was not an nourishing opening for a conversation. Alice replied, ra- rather silly. "I'll hardly know, sir. Just at present. At least I know who I was when I got up this morning. But I think I must have been changed several, several times since then." "What do you mean by that?" said the caterpillar sternly. "Explain yourself." "I cannot explain myself, I'm afraid, sir," said Liz. "Because I'm not myself, you see." "I don't see," said the caterpillar. "I'm afraid I cannot put it more clearly." Alice replied very politely, "For I cannot understand it myself to begin with, and begin so many different sides in a day is very confusing." "It is not," said the caterpillar. "Well, perhaps you haven't found it so yet," said Alice. "But when you have to turn into a carry cells, you will someday, you know, and then after that into a butterfly. I shall think you will feel it a little queer. Would not you?" "Not a bit," said the caterpillar. "Well, perhaps your feeling may be different," said Alice. "All I know is it would feel very queer to me." "You," said the caterpillar contemptuously. "Who are you?" Which brought them back again to the beginning of the conversation. Alice felt a little irritated at the caterpillar making such very short remark, and she drew herself up and said very gravely, "I think you to tell me who you are first." "Why?" said the caterpillar. Here was another puzzling question, and as Alice could not think of any good reason, and as the caterpillar seemed to be in a very unpleasant state of mind, she turned away. "Come back!" the caterpillar called after her. "If something important to say." This sounded promising. Certainly. Alice turned and came back again. "Keep your temper," said the caterpillar. "Is that all?" said Alice, swallowing down her anger as well as she could. "No," said the caterpillar. Alice thought she might as well wait, as she had nothing else to do. And perhaps after all, it might tell her something worth hearing. For some minutes it pivoted away without speaking, but at last it unfolded its arm, took the hookah out of its mouth again, and said, "So you think you retrench, do you?" "I'm afraid I'm sure," said Alice. "I cannot remember things as I used, and I don't keep the same size for 10 minutes together." "Cannot remember what things?" said the caterpillar. "Well, if tried to say, how doth the little bushy bee? But it all come different." Alice replied in a melancholy voice. "Repeat, you are old, Father William," said the caterpillar. Alice folded her hand and began. "You are old, Father William," the young man said, "and your hair has become very white, and yet you instantly stand on your head. Do you think at your age it is right?" "In my mouth," Father William replied to his son. "I feared it would injure the brain, but now that I am perfectly sure I have none, why, I do it again and again." "You are old," said the youth, "as I mentioned before, and have grown most comely fat. Yet you turned a back somersault in at the door. Pray, what is the reason of that?" "In my mouth," said the sheikh, as he shook his grey locks, "I keep all my limbs very simply by the use of this ointment on sealing the box. Allow me to sell you a couple." "You are old," said the youth, "and your jaws are too weak for anything together than sweet. Yet you finished the goose with the bones and the beak. Pray, how did you manage to do it?" "In my yacht," said his father. "I talked to the law and argued each case with my wife, and the muscular strength which it gave to my jaw has lasted the rest of my life." "You are old," said the youth. "One would hardly suppose that your eye was as steady as ever, yet you bounce an L on the end of your nose. What made you so awfully clever?" "I have answered their question, and that is no," said his father. "Don't give yourself airs. Do you think I can listen all day to such stuff? Be off, or I'll kick you downstairs." That is not said right, said the caterpillar. Not quite right, afraid, said Alice timidly. Some of the words have got altered. It is wrong from beginning to end, said the caterpillar deeply, and there was silence for some minutes. The caterpillar was the first to speak. What size do you want to be? It asked. Oh, I'm not particular as to size, Alice hastily replied. "Uh, Only one does not like changing so often, you know." "I don't know," said the caterpillar. Alice said nothing. She had never been so much concentrated in all her life before, and she felt that she was losing her temper. "Are you content now?" said the caterpillar. Well, well, I should like to be a little larger, sir, if you wouldn't mind, said Alice. There is such a wording hag to be. It is a very good hag indeed, said the caterpillar angrily, rearing itself up right as it spoke. It was actually their inches high, but I'm not used to it, pleaded poor Alice in a petulant tone, and she talked to herself. I wish the creatures wouldn't be so easily offended. You get used to it in time, said the caterpillar, and it put the hookah into its mouth and began smoking again. This time Alice waited patiently until it chose to speak again. In a minute or two, the caterpillar took the hookah out of his mouth and yawned once or twice and shook itself. Then I then it got down off the mushroom and curtly away into the grass, merrily remarking as it went. One side will make you grow taller, and the other side will make you grow shorter. One side of what? The other side of what? Thought Alice to herself. Of the mushroom, said the caterpillar, just as if she had escaped it aloud, and in another moment it was out of sight. Alice remaining looking thoughtfully at the mushroom for a minute, trying to make out which were the two sides of it, and as it was perfectly round, she found this a very difficult question. However, at least she stretched her arm round it as far as they would go, and broke off a bit of the edge with each hand. "And now, which is which?" she said to herself, and nimbly little of the right hand bit to try the effect. The next moment she felt a violent blow underneath her chin. It had struck her foot. She was a good deal frightened by this very sudden change, but she felt that there was no time to be lost, as she was shrieking rapidly. So she set to walk at once to eat some of the other bit. Her chin was pressed so closely gained her food, that there was hardly room to open her mouth, but she did it at last and managed to swallow a morsel of the left hand bit. Come, my head free at last, said Alice, in a tone of delight which changed into alarm in another moment when she found that her shoulders were nowhere to be found. All she could see when she looked down was an immense length of neck, which seemed to rise like a stalk out of a sea of green leaves that lay far below her. "What can all that green stuff be?" said Alice. "And where have my shoulders got to? And oh, my poor hands! How is it ill cannot?" Xiu was moving them about as she spoke, but no result seemed to follow, except a little shaking among the distant green leaves, as there seemed to be no chance of getting her hand up to her head. She tried to get her head down to them and was likely to find that her neck would bend about easily in any direction like a serpent. She had just succeeded in curving it down into a graceful zigzag, and was going to dive in among the leaves, which she found to be nothing but the tops of the tears under which she had been wandering, when a sharp hiss made her draw back in a hurry. A large pigeon had flown into her face, and was beating her valiantly with its wings. Serpent screamed in pain, but in a more subdued tone, and added with a kind of sob, "If tried every way, and nothing seems to suit them, I haven't the least idea what you're talking about," said Alice. "If tried the root of terrace, and if tried banks, and if tried head guess the pigeon went on without attending to her. But those serpents there's no pleasing them." Alice was more and more puzzled, but she thought there was no use in saying anything more till the pigeon had finished, as if it wasn't trouble enough batching the eggs, said the pigeon. "But I must be on the lookout of serpent night, and they, why I haven't had a wing of sleep this their week. I'm very sorry you've been annoyed," said Alice, who was beginning to see its meaning, and just as it taken the highest tree in the wood, continued the pigeon, raising its voice to a shriek. "And just as I was thinking I should be free of them at least, they must need come wriggling down from the sky. Oh, serpent! But I'm not a serpent, I tell you, said Alice. Well, what are you? Said the pigeon. I can see you are trying to even something. I, I am a little girl, said Alice, rather doubly, as the remembered the number of times she had gone through that day. A likely story. I needed, said the pigeon, in a tone of the deepest contempt. If seen a got many little girl in my time, but never one with such a nick as that. No, no, no. You are serpent, and there's no use denying it. I suppose you will be telling me next that you never test an egg. I have tested egg currently, said Alice, who was a very truthful child, but little girl at equity as much as serpent do you know. I don't believe it, said the pigeon. But if they do, why then they are, are a kin of serpent? That's all I can say. This was such a new idea to Alice that she was quite silent for a minute or two, which gave the pigeon the opportunity of adding. You are looking for eggs, I know. That well no. And what does it matter to me whether you are a little girl or serpent? It matters a good deal to me, said Alice hastily. But I'm not looking for eggs as it happens, and if I was, I shouldn't want yours. I don't like them raw. Well, be off then, said the pigeon in a sulky tone as it settled down again into its net. Alice crouched down among the trees as well as so she could, for her neck kept grating anxiously among the branches, and every now and then she had to stop and twist it. After a while, she remembered that she still held the piece of mushroom in her hand, and she set to work very carefully, nibbling first at one and then at the other, and growing sometimes taller and sometimes shorter, until she had succeeded in bringing herself down to her usually height. It was so long since she had been anything near the right size that it felt pretty strange at first, but she got used to it in a few minutes and began talking to herself as usually. Come, there's half my plan. Don't know how puzzling all these changes are. I'm never sure what I'm going to be from one minute to another. However, if got back to my right size, the next thing is to get into that beautiful garden. How is that to be done, I wonder? As she said this, she came suddenly upon a open place with a little house in it about 4 feet high. Whoever left there, thought Alice, it'll never do it come upon them this size. Why? I should frighten them out of their wits. So she began nibbling at the right hand bit again, and did not venture to go near at the house till she had broke herself down to 9 inches high.